How's it going, everyone? Welcome to the Body Slam TNA post show. I'm joined as always by the great Io. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, man. Enjoying this, pretty smooth, easy Friday. Getting ready for SummerSlam night one and stuff. Here to talk about TNA as always. How about you, man?
I'm just chilling, and now I forgot you mentioned it again. I'm almost jealous, man. I can't believe you're going to be in that huge arena for SummerSlam. That sounds dope.
Yeah, yeah. It's been a long time coming too. I wanted to be there when Cena faced The Rock again, and then the second time when they came there for like Becky, Ronda, Charlotte, obviously Kofi Mania and whatnot and stuff. But yeah. And knowing that, the chances of them coming back to like Jersey or New York doing another Mania or SummerSlam are kind of very slim. So I figure, fuck it, it's now or never. So yeah, but yeah, to go to Slammiversary and a SummerSlam within the last 2 weeks is pretty dope. It's kind of very, very. It's like the wrestling mind telling you, like, bruh, this is all laid out for you. Like, you got to take advantage of it. So.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I feel you on that as well. I
Like
feel the
like if
same way.
like Yeah, like if let's say if both big pay-per-view were around the California area, that's kind of like a calling saying like you gotta figure out a way to get Bill beat her. So don't you agree?
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. Yeah, because with Revolution and then Rebellion, we're like a month from each other. So yeah, I went to
Yeah,
both just because. Yeah, I'm not gonna pass up on two
ex
California pay-per-views. You know what I
exactly.
mean? So
Yeah,
part of me, literally, just because as a kid, I always like Survivor Series. Part of me wants to try to go to Survivor Series in November. I don't know if I can make that happen, but I kind of want to keep an eye on the ticket sales and just if I can get a good ticket, I might try to do that because that does sound like it'll be a fun show.
yeah.
Okay, before we get into everything, Tina, and we got a lot to talk about tonight. Just want to remind everyone this week's podcast is sponsored by Shroom Bar, the protein mushroom bar. It's made up of not psychedelics, but 4 powerful mushroom adaptogens. It has lion's mane, which increases focus, memory, and neuroplasticity, making it easier to form new patterns and learn new things. Next time you're trying to learn that new move, it might actually stick in your head rather than forgetting immediately. It has quadriceps, which increases VO2 max, blood flow, and overall endurance. It has reishi, which decreases stress. It has turkey tail, which boosts your immune system. And we know you're going to need that when you're training on those nasty-ass gym mats. On top of all that, it has 12 grams of protein. Go to eatshroombar.com and use code BODYSLAM at checkout for 25% off your first order. Yes. Okay. Like I said, before we get into TNA, and last night's episode was hot, I think we should talk about, I think, the big news, and I don't think we can really call it news. We're going to call it the rumors, the whispers. I want you
Rumors.
to start with that. Yeah. All right, what are you hearing?
Well, as you may know, that as you know, a few weeks ago, TNA president Carl Silva, has been mentioning that they have been in since well, pretty much since he started, they have been in talks of like securing a new distribution TV deal for TNA, one to like meet the demands of like 10 million a year, and basically like basically like one of the top known TV networks and 10 million a year and whatnot, and they're closer than probably on a 60-day on the next 60 days before making it official and whatnot stuff. So yeah, so yeah, case in point, they've been in talks with networks for looking for a new distribution deal. So today we learned that potentially there's some potential networks that TNA has been talking to. According to uh, the Observer letter, I believe one of them is A&E Network. Those you know, A&E Network was home to like uh, it's home to like a lot of documentary shows and TV shows, like a lot of documentaries and stuff. But also it's home to like to certain WWE content like from and of course LFG, which is currently going on. Home to like many All American being one of them, as Bliz reported. Well, before I continue, what was your thought when you heard about those two potential networks?
You know, and the people who maybe have pushed back on A&E, let me just say it is a top network. It outranks Access in terms of that. But the CW, I think I'm all Supernatural,
Riverdale, Supernatural,
all the
superheroes, yeah,
the
shows, but they
Arrowverse,
canceled it. Yeah,
like the Arrowverse, all those shows. You know what I mean? So they
yeah,
definitely have that younger demographic, and that's you when people talk ratings with wrestling, that's always a demographic you talk about going
yeah,
after. So I think
exactly.
CW could be the play. What do you think?
Between the both of them, definitely the CW is the one to get because, as you mentioned, the younger audience, yeah, they watch a lot of these, yeah, younger t television shows, and that's something that wrestling, and also TNA, TNA, kind of needs to obtain to like the younger demographic and stuff. So yeah, and nothing against A&E. That's a good network too, but you want one that kind of like brings like a different, younger audiences. So between them, I would say the CW.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Just because, again, I think it's all about who's like. When I do think of A&E, I think of older people watching that. You know what I mean? Just with the documentaries and the crime stuff like that. And in terms of the WWE stuff, they're usually it's about legends, and I think that appeals to the older wrestling fans. The CW
Yeah,
definitely is more of a network that is entrenched, in the younger demographic. I think it makes sense that NXT's there. It's the next
yeah.
generation of WWE. So I don't know how that would work with a streaming platform, but if they were on CW,
So see, oh
yeah,
yeah, and
that's
one more.
definitely.
Oh,
Oh
you were
yeah,
saying?
sorry. Oh yeah, the hard out's definitely something to.
He actually was the former president. Now, TNA fans,
Oh, okay.
remember Pop TV, yep, was the former home of Impact Wrestling from 2016 to 2019. Interested in info, like obviously Brad Schwartz, he would know, of TNA and Impact. So I would say if you add that plus the WWE relationship, I think, yeah, it might be, a good, say they have a good chance of landing there. But I guess we'll see.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Okay, next I think we should move again. A lot to talk about tonight. We're moving into a little free agency talk. Uh, I think a lot of wrestling fans pay attention about the names that were from a few days ago. Let me pull up the list. 1 second. As of 1 day ago, W releases from May who officially become free agents are Dakota Kai, Shayna Baszler, Braun Strowman, Katana Chance, and Caden Carter. I want to start with you. Dream scenario. If you could have anybody on that list, who you picking?
Um, it would be Shayna and Dakota for good reasons. Shayna, for mainly, obviously, for mainly her background, as she's a former MMA fighter, and she also, from my understanding, she also fight in Invicta, as Invicta for the for you guys to know is one of Anthem's other project portfolio, and along with TNA and stuff. So it's very, knowing TNA, they want to kind of like, sorry, knowing Anthem, they want to kind of like use notable people, who has ties with Invicta to kind of, boost up their brand. They did that with attending their events and stuff. So I, she to me, Dakota is very, she stood out from the pack. I mean, keep in mind, this is not the first time she got released. She got released back in 2022, if I'm, yeah, 2022, and then she came back, formed Damage Control with Bailey and Io Sky, and that's where I feel like she felt like they hit her, they got something with her, like siding with two great talent, and Io and Bailey was good for to elevate Dakota, and obviously being WWE, they missed the boat with a few talents, Dakota being one of them, but. then again, she's gotten injured a lot, but like that happens and stuff. One of the biggest scratch heads, I think, for some fans, I believe, was when she was in the finals of that Intercontinental title match with Lyra Valkyria. Nothing against Lyra. She's done an incredible job, an amazing job as champion. I'm just saying, I think some people would have preferred Dakota to be that first champion. So yeah,
Yeah,
that being said, yeah, you don't you think don't you agree? Like way back in January, like some folks were pulling for Dakota.
yeah, I think it made the most sense for Dakota to win that belt. But again, that's just one of the many like head scratchers slash
Yeah, yeah,
underutilization for.
underutilized. Yeah, underutilized.
Yeah,
And
sorry.
now she's released again and stuff. Yeah,
And to your point, people always talk about that sometimes injury prone can be led to, or like there's a transition between people who are not, they're not being used enough. So like when they get out there, of course they're going to get injured because when was the last time they were in like in ring action? You know what I mean? So it's like
hmm
that can happen. And in terms of like, I would say with both Shayna and Dakota, don't look at how long they've been in the business or they're older. I think they have fresh legs in terms of they haven't been used in a lot. You know what I mean?
yeah,
They don't have as many miles on them as I would say other people their age. So I think both of those names would be smart for TNA to pick up.
yeah. I think those two specifically because they already have like a character and some to like they can you put them like in the roster they will stand out. Like not just because they came from WWE and whatnot, but like they have something that can like really kind of like help stand out the Knockouts division. I know some were expecting us to like pick the other two women, Kate and Carter, Katana Chance, mainly obviously for like the Knockouts tag division. But personally, I think I need to kind of see a little more out of those two because I know we have complaints about the Knockouts tag division lacking teams and stuff. But knowing TNA's booking, they're probably expecting want to see more, like not just bring the names for the sake of names, but I mean we might see them too, Kaden and Katana. But for now, I'm just sticking with Shayna and Dakota.
Yeah, if they hadn't signed all these people recently, I would say Kaden and Katana would be like a no-brainer just because like you said it's an already made team. But now I don't think that's as necessary. And actually, I think that Dakota and Shayna are more needed because I think that the main event scene is it's a little tight right now. You know what I mean? There's not really many
Yeah,
contenders. You know what I mean? That's why I think that JC winning, there's a lot more to it than you know what I mean. Just putting the belt on someone from NXT. I mean, you know what I mean?
yeah,
Just because like I think Shane and Dakota come in, and not just because they're former WWE wrestlers. I think that people, I always thought Shayna should have been world champion on the main roster. She was in NXT, and then again Dakota. Yeah, that's somebody
yeah.
a walking example of someone who wasn't
I
used
think,
as
yeah, I think, real quick, I think because Shayna was always as good as she was in NXT, she was always under that shadow of Ronda. Like, oh, she's a friend of Ronda, blah blah blah, blah. Like, uh, yeah, basically, yeah, like she was like a friend of Ronda, and so both kind of put that situ put that over her and stuff like. But for the most part, Shayna, she was able to kind of like stood out from the quote unquote MMA's four horsewomen, and really come to her own. But yeah, after when she feuded with Becky, things went. She wasn't the same after. If I'm totally honest, yeah, she wasn't the same after feuding with Becky.
okay. And I don't know if I don't. Obviously, there's a lot other free agents besides the ones I named. Is there anybody like else, like not named, that you were kind of hoping that TNA took a look at, or sign? Obviously,
Uh, Good question. Actually, there's one tag team in particularly. As I shared in our group chat. The former, I think the free agents now, formerly from AEW, the former AEW tag champions, Mark Quinn, Isaiah Cassidy, Private Party. That team, in my opinion, was so undervalued and underutilized from the get-go. And that's not a knock like on them whatsoever. They're very talented. It's just, the bookers and creative that be weren't really like pushing them forward of some sort. Like, yeah, they won the tag belts, but they didn't really do much. And then like all of a sudden they lose it to the Hurt Syndicate and whatnot. So I feel like, them coming into TNA. I know some say NXT or whatever, but I feel like TNA will probably give these two like more of an identity and label to kind of, you know, let them be them. And ironically, Matt and Jeff, they're mentors, there too. So
I up until you said that, I had totally forgot that Private Part. So they're not with AEW. I don't know how I missed that or like forgot about that. You know what I mean? I knew that their deal was set to expire, but I didn't know that that happened. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. TNA should throw. I would say throw big money at them just because. Again, I would say that the tag team division, while it is deep, I just don't think it has the star power that it once had. And I think everyone, especially when the AEW thing was going down, I was pumped from when they came in. You know what I mean? I was kind of hoping they would have had a bigger run in TNA. So yeah, that would be very smart for TNA to pull off if they can. Okay. Before we move into last night's show, is there anything else you want to say, Io? Any news this week?
I think that's about it. That kind of covers it. Santino, he challenged Ethan Page Tuesday, good show and stuff. Um, yeah, that was about it. Yeah.
Okay. Then let's get into last night's show, which again, as I said, it was hot. It was jam packed. I took too many notes on last night's show. Not that that's a problem, but there was just so much to keep up with. Okay, but last night we started the show. We were in Kingston, Rhode Island once again, and we started off. This reminded me of WCW Nitro show. Well, I love WCW. We had started off with a cruiserweight / X Division match. It was Prime Cedric Alexander versus Jason Hotch versus the TNA X Division champion Leon Slater. I thought this was a good opening match. This is what you should always start a show out with. Like really fast paced, action like this. But what do you think about this match?
Definitely a good way to kick off the episode of Impact, the X Division title. Um, I'm glad Jason Hodge is getting some more single shine on his own because I think he's really good. And he didn't disappoint. Despite being a tag team guy and in the Order 4 faction, he can really stood out. I think he has some singles potential down the line or so. But we'll see. Having Cedric being another child to really help boost Leon's title reign from the beginning because Cedric he's a talented decorated champion and whatnot and stuff. So you have two great challengers and of course Leon Slater the champion. It was a great way to kind of like reintroduce what the X Division meant. As Hannafin mentioned, like three ways X Division was built on three-way matches and stuff, which is true from the Asylum days and stuff. So yeah, good showing. Um, right now they're telling the story. Obviously Slater pinned Hotch, and then right after Alexander gets into Leon's face. Both talking. We don't know what they said exactly, but as we know, like backstage. Cedric, reminds Leon like, "Hey, congrats, you won the match, but you didn't pin me." and Leon, takes that as a challenge. So if the match was made emergence, these two are going to go at it for the X Division title, and it should be good. What do you think?
Yeah, first of all, I'm glad that you noted that Hannibin said that. I like how he also said this was the first X Division title match, X Division three-way title match in a year in TNA.
Yeah.
So this should be, I think that kind of should be a staple, just because, as Hannibin alluded to, that that division was built on epic three-ways. Yeah, I thought this match was really good. And I don't want to hear from anyone that Jason Hotch shouldn't stand out or hold his own. I thought he's very good. And exactly what you said. I think he's going to be a single star as well when the Order 4 thing's done. Also, I could see him being X Division champion at one point. But yeah, this was good shit, and I like how I like matches with an easy setup for another match. And yeah, Cedric not being pinned. They seem to, even Leon acknowledge it. He doesn't like loose ends. Basically, as soon as Cedric said that he didn't get pinned. So yeah, this is good, and I'm glad we got the match made for Emergence. Okay, next we're going to go into just a quick Masha promo. She just basically said, I like what she said. She's like, she made the title mean something for fighters, and she's basically told JC she's in the fight just to fight for her life. But what do you think about this promo?
Oh, say that again. Sorry, I didn't catch this.
Oh yeah, no, it was just a quick Masha promo. Did you hear what I said about the promo, or the question?
Oh yeah. It was a good promo. Masha, feeling like she got robbed, Slammiversary, and hellbent and getting that title back. Yeah, you want to show like, hey, like, like that title, the division, it meant a lot, and then have an outsider, take that, and then you like yeah, it kind of shows how serious the TNA roster is in getting those titles back. So yeah, good promo from Masha.
After this was just a quick. It was the Leon Slayer and Cedric Alexander thing. We addressed it. Basically, they wanted their match. They made it. So yeah, that should be good for Emergence. That's going to steal a show as well. Next we have Indy Hartwell and Danny Luna versus Jody Threat and Ariana Grace, and all four of their mentors was out there. Alicia Crawford was out. Victoria Crawford was out there. She's, mentoring this group. We like to see that. I personally like that. This was fun. I like the Ariana Grace's. I like how she says she won't be back for a while, but she's wrestling. I like how she's back. I like how she's wrestling. I think her pageant gimmick is so good. This was a very smart match because you put Ariana with a great worker like Jody. You know what I mean? You put Indy Hartwell with a great worker like Danny Luna. This match was better than I thought it was going to be because of those two elements. But what do you think about this match?
Yeah, this was a good tag match. The main thing out of this is like, Jody and Danny, being on opposite sides. Jody, for the most part, is hesitant because I think she said before she doesn't want to like wrestle her old tag partner, but that's her old tag partner, so that's how it kind of goes. But yeah, good chemistry, involving four ladies. I'm curious to see like, where they're going with this with Victoria Crawford, involvement in these women's matches and stuff. I guess we'll see. But yeah, Danny, good showing. She was able to pin Jody, I thought that was pretty interesting. Like, yeah, we'll see where it goes from there.
Yeah, Danny Luna hit and I really like this because there were two instances in this match. One, if you remember, Io, there was a spot where Danny into the ropes, and where that's the way they made it seem like, and Danny like went right through the ropes, and they really kind of credited Ariana for that. Jody got kind of distinct for some reason, which again I like. It was dope. But yeah, no, I like the seeds that they're planting in this. I thought this was good shit.
Yeah.
Okay. Next, we're gonna okay. Moving just a quick Jake something promo. I mean, I think Steve Macklin must have. Jake said something, said his name, and Steve Macklin was right there, and he didn't have to say anything. So I thought this was good. Yeah, I'm looking forward to when they have. And you know what? I don't want Steve Macklin to lose, but Jake something winning, I think it would finally mean they're doing something with Jake something. So
Yeah. I'm surprised we're actually getting this very soon. Like you would think it would be made for like PLE or pay-per-view or whatnot because of what both guys bring to the table. I agree. Yeah. Anytime it seems like anytime Steve Blackman's name is mentioned backstage, he just like happens to be there, or has very good ears. 'Cause,
yeah,
yeah. Yeah. As great as I'm enjoying Macklin's reign right with the Internet title. I wouldn't I wouldn't be mind to seeing Jake something have a reign with that title, but I guess we'll see how it goes. So yeah, next what you mentioned.
next we just went into it was basically a trailer, very well done for TNA's. I guess you would call it like a documentary. It's called TNA Slammiversary Fade to Black, and it's basically what I'm seeing is like they're gonna go behind the scenes of the whole show, the making, right up until the event, and gonna show you a lot of like access that you wouldn't normally see. And I'm very intrigued and excited for this. What do you think, Io? What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, it's very very well done documentary from what I've heard and seen. I think they did this for a reason because like of getting new viewers and new potential partners of like knowing how hard TNA's worked of getting like over 7,600 fans in that building and obviously a lot of cool backstage. Like basically, they want to show the hardworking people, like which is great. The hardworking people putting everything together. And I'm sure you noticed there was a photo of most of the talent and crew in a prayer circle. Like that just kind of shows you the mentality of the TNA crew. Like they're all in this together. Um, like they're all this together, even through highs and lows. Of like basically like this they would not would be today without like everyone's hard work along with the fans. So very good documentary for folks to check it out. If you have a TNA Plus VIP membership, uh, yeah, definitely give it a check it out.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me a little bit of like when you buy like a band's, like for example, like if they make like a movie, like like back in the day they had like DVDs, or like if they just made a show, like a thing about like behind the scenes of a tour. That's what this kind of reminded me of. You're gonna get like a lot of things, what it goes into putting on the event. I think that's very cool when they kind of able to strip it like that. So I'm excited for this. What I thought was a very then an even better segment after, right off the bat. Wentz and Myron Reed go for dives. Wentz connects, Myron doesn't, and then this leads to like Nemeth and Ryan Beal to take control for a little bit. But like I said, this was this was a really good match, and I think one of the highlights for me was at one point Ryan was showing like a lot of aggression out there, and Hannafin even like recognized it. It was like, oh yeah, Ryan's out there showing some aggression, and Ray Walt's like, finally, and that's when I was like noticing, like, say what you want, the Nemesis gets pretty good, I would say above average heel heat, and so
Yeah.
I'm actually really enjoying this run for them. But what do you think about this match?
It was well, I agree with what the Nemeth Bros character brings to the table. Like Hannafin, always want to get those puns, at the good timing, which makes me laugh too. Um, yeah, this was a good match, to climb for the ranks of the tag division. Rascals, Rascals winning, helps, they did win, right? Like, yeah, helps, boost their claim, for tag title shot. Meanwhile, the Nemets, they claim, for the rematch clause. So we're gonna see what happens first.
I love the ending of this match. Myron Reed, the ending sequence of this match. Myron hits this variation of a Stun Dog Millionaire. It was like he had like a twist to it. It was dope. And then he hits this insane cutter to Nemeth. Like Nemeth's on the ropes, and he runs and hits a cutter landing on the outside. I did not know how he didn't get hurt like that. Or almost.
He calls that the flame on. Yeah.
Okay. That almost looked like when Samoa Joe jumped off the stairs and like landed on, this was way less dangerous, but this was an insane looking bump. And then Wentz follows it up by hitting the spiral tap on Ryan, and it looked picture perfect. But this was a really good match.
Definitely.
Okay, the ending segment was what was money. This probably was the segment of the night, or one of them. The Nemesis won't leave, and Hannafin even acknowledges that. Nick says that the titles were stolen from him, and then he throws in this line that if you're pre-law like him, you know about the rematch clause. I thought that was a very good heel line. And then Ryan just went off. He's insulting the crowd. You know what I mean? He's talking about how, like, they're ugly. He's saying that they have no sports teams. And right when that happened, you should have known who was going to come out. And I thought this was brilliant. I'm laughing right now. All of a sudden, here comes Hometown Man, who looked like he was yachting all day. He looked like the skipper from Gilligan's Island. You know what I mean? And like Ray Wald even like announced it. Like he's like, what? Has he been on a boat all day? And like he comes out and he said that he was eating, I think they're called puffies. I think they're very popular in Rhode Island. He's talking about don't insult in the crowd. He's talking about he's gonna come down there and like ram him like the Rhode Island rant. Like this was such a money segment. What'd you think about all this?
Oh, I agree. Once you have
it's very funny to me because at the ending led to the Nemesis unmasking Hometown Man, and it was funny because Hannafin was like, "Oh, they're gonna unmask Diener." But it was so funny when he got unmasked. Now I think of this like almost loses that they don't want to show his face the way they cover him up. Diener's getting this gimmick over so much. This gimmick is it's funny.
I agree. He's doing a good job.
Okay, next we're just going to go into it was just a quick Kazarian promo. He just says, he's just talking about how respect isn't a thing in TNA. They used to respect, the veterans. I thought this was a typical Kazarian promo. You know what I mean? This was good.
Yeah, Kazarian, still upset of the mistreatment he's been getting as of late. Thrown out by security for commissary and stuff. So this is kind of like letting us know, like, he ain't that hard. He ain't that easy to just go away. And the king, quote unquote, king of TNA deserves respect. So we'll see how TNA responds.
Next, we're gonna get again. I think that what made this show so good is the promos. We're gonna go into a master class babyface promo of Santana. It's the first time he's kind of addressed what happened at Slammiversary. He comes to the crowd, but what I thought made this promo unique is what he was like walking through the crowd a little bit, cutting it, and then he finally ended it in the ring. But what stood out to me is like he did this thing that, like kind of what Mick Foley would do, like where he would like talk about like going home and like seeing his kids, but he talked about how he had to look at his daughter as she watched him lose. And he had this line like where she said that like, oh, I know you're gonna get him next time, and that like really fired the crowd up. Like the crowd was eating out of his hand like the whole time. This was money. But what'd you think about all this?
Yeah, I'm glad. I'm glad. Santana. I mean, sorry, Santana really opened up about how much that night was important. Like about how he felt like the whole New York and New York audience was rallied behind him to like get the job done of winning the TNA World Title, and that didn't come away. And obviously, more importantly, that he felt like he let his daughter down. Uh, as he mentioned, like after the match and the post-match promo, and then he walked to to his daughter, let him know, let her know how how sorry he is for like losing the match. But then like the daughter, and God bless her, kind of like cheers him up, saying like, "Don't worry, you're gonna get him back. You're gonna get him back next time when you get the chance." So this was kind of like a reminder to the fans, I guess Santana, he's still on the running, like that he made a proclamation he will be TNA World Champion. So we just gotta follow along. And for the critics and stuff, there's obviously shown that TNA still want to build Santana on the chase. So we're just gonna have to kind of go along with it and stuff. But yeah, this is a very good promo from Santana. Definitely kind of uplifts the current base after after what down to Slammiversary.
Again, yeah, going back to the critics, and I completely agree with you. And you guys all know again, I always look up to the great Kevin Nash booking philosophies, and if it's to believed right, I believe Kevin Nash explained at one time. I think his title reign as Diesel outdrew. I was well into the $300 million range. Kevin Nash always talks about the chase being more important for the baby face. So yeah, like again, and also too, let's point out anyone who wants to say that they're doing like, or if the thing comes out that oh man, it's like Hendry. Santana hasn't been chasing this title as long as Hendry was. So yeah,
Agree.
enough with that nonsense. That's stupid. Okay, next we're gonna go into the Knockouts Championship match. We had Masha Slamovich, the challenger, taking on JC Jane, accompanied by Fatal Influence. That's Fallon Henley and Jasmine Nix. Um, again, heels need one thing, and that's a catchy, fucking really good catchphrase. It can be corny, but Hannafin's saying that JC wants to be known as the new Double J of TNA. I don't think they should take the title off of her now.
I thought that was good. That's some good heat.
Yeah, yeah. And again, JC to me every freaking match, dude, she looks better than before. So yeah, I thought this was really good for it was. I didn't expect this really wasn't a match. Obviously, the match really was starting out fast, back to back pin attempts, but out of nowhere, Ash comes out and takes out Masha. And dude, this got heat.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on, real quick. I mean, Miguel, that's not true. I'm not a super fan. I'm just appreciating the work, but thank you for joining us, Miguel. Thank you. That is okay. I'm not going to deny that, but what do you think about this, Io? What do you think about this whole thing?
Yeah, this was it was a very quick, decent match from Masha and JC. Again, Masha, had hell bent of like getting the title back after feeling robbed and stuff. And as you know, wherever JC goes, Fallon and Jasmine not too far. So I figured like you just kind of wonder where was Brookside and Lady Ling during all this? I mean, I mean, I know they came from Slammiversary, they came a little later, but it's like you can't trust, Fatal Influence. Like, they're gonna like, get their hands dirty and and do some tricks and whatnot to like keep the title in JC. But the main point of the match was interference, disqualification by one, as by Elegance, as Miguel mentioned. So I know it's kind of it's you're thinking like from you're kind of thinking like, why would she do that? Like, we're trying to get the title back from away from NXT. And then, of course, this is Ash. Of course, she actually mentioned like, she can't stand the spotlight being on Masha and want the spotlight on her. So she intentionally, cost Masha the match. I mean, Masha won by DQ, but the title. And then, Fatal Influence and the Elegance brand, arguing, and then comes Brookside and Lady Lee. So battle lines are kind of drawn here, in this current knockouts division landscape. So we're just kind of see where it goes from there. But yeah, then Santino made an announcement after. Well, so what was your thought when Ash interfered?
Again, I actually kind of like it because I didn't think once Masha lost the title, I didn't think and the rematch was announced. I did not think she should win, and I didn't think she was going to win. And again, we talked about Ash having that title match. I didn't expect her to want it that soon, but again, I like this, and okay, so Miguel's going to be right a little bit. Ash is doing the best. I'm going to praise her a lot. Ash is doing the best work of her career in TNA. And I'm even talking about, too, from a year ago to now. I think she... Yeah. What? So go on, Al.
From a character standpoint, absolutely. She's doing her best work right now. And, I mean... Well, I will say, she's all right in the ring and stuff. Like... I mean, I don't think we've got to see most of what she's capable, but that's for another chat. But yeah, for the character, what the brand and the Elegance brand, she's actually doing her best work.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying too. I won't even I'm even talking about her best work in TNA since coming to TNA in terms of when they try to kind of force book her from last year. I think she's like the complete heel. Like, she's put together an absolute top faction in the Elegance brand. Like, everything that they're doing is working. So yeah. Okay, so we're just gonna go real quick to the next segment, to that part. So backstage, the Elegance brand is celebrating. Everyone's there. Maggie, Heather, the Iceman, and Ash wants her title match next week. And as she's saying that, here comes Masha. She's pissed off. And Santino actually agrees with Ash, but he says the winner gets Masha. And, in my head, I kept thinking, I wonder if that's going to be an emergence. But so now we know, you know what I mean? Because at first I'm like, I hope that doesn't make it a triple threat, because that might lead to Masha getting another match. But I like this. I don't see Ash winning, but I do like this. Do it now, because I actually don't want that title, that number one contender, kind of like hanging over, just because it technically we could have two number one contenders at one point. So what do you think about this?
Yeah, this is just best to get this match out the way. Two heels, the two heels fighting for the knockout title should be interesting. We'll have to see. But I thought it was good, getting the Elegance brand and hopefully Fatal Influence away from ringside, so we can see how this goes. And then, Masha, pick up the bones after. So, yeah.
You say two heels, which is very true, but I also like, because since I see Fatal and JC winning, we still haven't got. I want to get that Elegance brand versus Fatal Influence match eventually too. So you know what I mean. And Miguel, let me just address Miguel. I'm going to address your comment real quick. I'm not going to agree with you on that, but I do think her match this week was better than her Slammiversary match. So if that's me being a super fan, that's fine. Okay, next we're going to move on to But in between that segment, we just had Casey Navarro getting checked out by the doctor. And the doctor's saying he's not cleared. And then AJ Francis comes up, and he's not really happy. And it's even furthermore stated when Trick comes up, and he's not happy. So as a result of that, the main event is changed to a tag team match instead of a six-man match. So it's Moose and Eddie Edwards versus Trick and AJ Francis. But we'll get to that when we get to the main event. Okay. Next, we're just going to have, again, and TNA's been killing it with their video packages. We just had like a quick 2-3 minute bio about Mara Sade. I thought this was really good. Like, it was not really in character, like a little bit in character, but mostly just talking about her growing up in Dukes, New Mexico, how she's a multifaceted athlete, what she wants to do in TNA, her dreams of wrestling and outside the ring. But I thought this was really good. What'd you think about this?
Yeah, this was very good. Gives fans, TNA fans specifically, a chance to get to know Mara Sade. What drives her, what's her background, why she decides TNA and stuff. Yeah, very good way of reintroducing us, to the former Jakara Jackson.
Yeah, and again, I think she's going to be a big star in TNA. I thought this was a really, really good.
If you ask me, as good as if you ask me as good as Metaphor was, you kind of think Jakara, she was kind of like being like the background, to Lash Legend, Lash obviously Lash stood out, for being the most talkative and having the most personality and whatnot. And then you have Jakara, in her side, side by side, CIP. No, I'm sorry, PIC, partner in crime and whatnot. So now fast forward, Mara, being on her own and stuff. It'll be interesting. It's interesting to see, how that goes.
Okay. Next, we're going to go and do, again, the promo stole the show. It was the Order 4 victory rally. We had the whole group coming out. The Secret Service, Jason Hawks, John Schuyler, Tasha Steelz, Mustafa Ali, and the mystery man from last week who was named in this segment. His name is Agent Zero, as Mustafa Ali called him, his weapon of mass destruction, I believe he said.
Yeah.
Was the head of the Secret Service.
The head of the Secret Service.
This was good shit. And again, I forget who put it out, but someone had put out recently, just kind of talking about his 2024 run versus this run. And yeah, this is like Ali's put it all together. Like this shit is so good. But I like him out there, and he's basically just talking about TNA being invaded by outsiders. He calls out everyone. Like, he talks about how they let this happen, you know what I mean? And then when he gets to a specific name, he gets to Joe Henry. He says, it's mostly his fault. Obviously, Joe Henry is going to come out. And I like this because for a few reasons. Because one, and Ali said that he's going to be world champion. I like this for two reasons. For one, this is an example of a feud not needing a title, and this is a big time feud. You know what I mean? It's Ali versus Joe Henry, the former world champion, somebody who wants to be world champion. But this was good shit. Like, I don't think anybody can complain about this. But as soon as Joe Henry starts speaking, we knew we were going to get some sort of what Joe Henry does best. That he pretty much just ripped John Schuyler. What do you think about this segment, Kyle?
Yeah, this was very, very entertaining. As you know, Joe doing what he does best. Oh my God! So he had Schuyler, a picture of Schuyler's head on this on the Major Buddy toys they be selling, and then yeah. Kind of Mount mocking, the Order 4 shirts, and then Mustafa, and you can see the seeding on Mustafa's face. So that was very entertaining.
So good, so good. He had him in the shitter, and yeah, dude, this was clever. The only thing that really kind of stood out to me is, I don't want to be accused of being a hater, but I don't know if it was a combination of the crowd being a little small, but I didn't think that the pop for Joe Henry was as massive that we're used to. I'm not saying that his popularity is waning, but I'm just saying I think it's more of that Ali is also very over himself. But yeah, that's just like a minor thing. It's a little nitpick, but yeah, overall, I thought this was a really good segment. Like this was good shit.
Yeah, very very entertaining. As it leads now as leads to next week, Mustafa and Joe Hendry. Um, this is a match I figure like should have happened in Rebellion, but that's for another conversation. So it should be good. Yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, and obviously, like I said, like Ali pinning a former world champion, which I think that's where they're going to go. Again, I'm not. It's not about Joe Henry's contract or whether like how long it is or like how long he's going to be with him. I just think that the smart move would be to put Ali over. I think again, Henry's more of a made man at this point than Ali. So yeah, but I'm looking forward to that because but yeah, Joe challenged him for the night. Of course, Ali's a great heel. He said, no, we'll do it next week. He said he wants to give Joe Henry time to prepare. This is good.
Agree.
Let's go to the comments real quick. Cam said, what up, Cam?
What's up?
Okay, we go to Terrence asks, do you think TNA will get 5,000 people for BFGA? I think there are 400 fans from loyal. Again, I think
I don't see why not.
Yeah, again, and I don't. If they got the second number, I think that's a success. I don't see their numbers going down. Yeah, I think that's a real possibility. That's a good market. TNA is really hot right now. You know the card's going to be an absolute fire. You know what I mean? Like it or not, how I feel about it, I think that the tease of the Team 3D versus the Hardys will definitely move some people and move tickets. So yeah, I think that's a very possibility.
From my understanding, tickets seem to be going well, especially from the pre-sale. It goes to show, the strategy, TNA is doing, especially with that big tease of doing Dudley's versus Hardys at Bound for Glory. So it just goes to show that nostalgia still has its place. And as far as Tam's comment, can TNA do 5,000? I don't see why not. If they have a good card, a good build, and give a reason for folks to buy in or appear. So.
And when it comes to TNA, they do very well on like it seems like Dave and like walk up. You know what I'm saying? Like that's where they will get some numbers as well. So you know what I mean? I'm not taking the number as it is right now. I have in front of me as the face value. You know what I mean? Because again, we're a few months out for one. Tickets are moving well, and again, the day of always does well. So, yeah, I think that's I think 5,000 is a very possibility. Okay, next we're gonna. God damn, man, how many fucking promos that were amazing on this one? Now that I think about it, this was the best promo of the night. I think it could be in the running for best interviews of the year. Dude, this was Sami Callihan like pouring his fucking heart out, dude. Like he talked about how, he's basically just telling you his journey, like as the last couple months, and we kind of touch on the promo with Moose. You know what I mean? And Hannah Finn like alludes to Moose had retracted some of his segments, but you hear Sami go, Moose is a friend. You know what I mean? Maybe he was trying to reach out to me in the best way he knows how. And so then Sami gets into since he hasn't been right since his leg surgery, and since then he's put on 60 pounds, and he goes into growing up with his history of weight like bulimia and like struggling with weight. Dude, he talked about like when he was in WWE and first came to TNA, he had abs, he was in great shape, you know what I mean, and then just something happened again, the leg surgery, so he just hasn't been all there. And then he goes into, obviously, where it's going. Like, maybe he doesn't have it anymore. Maybe he should hang it up. but I like the transition because he goes into, it's like he's been talking to Santana, and Santana, we all know, has had his own battles, and at first I'm like, I don't know if they're gonna, because the final thing is Sami saying he wants one more match against the new standard, Mike Santana, at Emergence, I believe, and if he doesn't win, he might hang it up. That means he doesn't have it anymore. He'll have his answer. Part of me, I'm thinking, I don't know if you can have Santana lose, but at the same time, it's like I don't want Sammy to retire now. I want the Sammy redemption story. You know what I mean? Like that's where my head's going. What do you think about all this, Io?
Well, first, this was very good, as we mentioned. It shows the audience a different side of Sammy Callahan that we'd never really seen. The one who's honestly, for the first time, is kind of like doubting himself. I mean, let's beat around the bush. The comments from Moose. Um, if you know if knowing Moose, if I would say this was kind of like his way of kind of like telling Sammy to like wake the F up, like look at you now. The injury, yeah, he had a leg injury in 2021. That kind of yeah. Because yeah, keep in mind, yeah, 2021, yeah, that was the same year, Sammy, faced Kenny Omega, Slammiversary, which was a good, awesome banger, and whatnot. But then, yeah, later he got a leg injury, and he hasn't been the same since. As you mentioned, he gained some pounds. Like if I showed you the thing, if you show like a side by side of Sammy now and then the previous years of his career, like you would really like be astonished like how much pounds he gained. Um, so yeah, for Emergence, yeah, he made the challenge, him versus Santana. I mean, him versus Santana to see if he still has it, or maybe this is it. I mean, it's no but around the bush. Santana should obviously win because he's on the climb getting his title back. As far as the match, I would expect a banger. What up, Datilia?
What about you?
Yeah, isn't it ironic? Yeah, I used to be I used to be doing the YouTube comment for you guys. Yeah, yeah. You know what I mean, bro? Yeah,
Yeah, that's yeah.
yeah. That's
Talking the
kind of
chat.
how. So yes. So for Sammy, this is it's a proven match, or yeah, it's basically a proven match. Like, does he still have it as you mentioned, or maybe his time has passed, and this we'll see. But I expect a banger because like if anyone's gonna like bring the best out of Sammy Callahan, it's definitely Mike Santana. So for this match in particular, if it gets official, like watch out because I think we're gonna get the best Sammy Callahan thing we haven't had in a long time. But,
Yeah, because also it could do two things too. Because you could have Sammy win again, which kickstarts his resurgence. You can, if it's a very hard fought match, you also could do a draw, which is not a loss. Which now that I'm thinking about it, like a time limit draw might be very good. You know what I mean? Because also when Santana becomes champion, you already have another ready-made feud. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
Sammy only just needs to get back to being a top guy. He's already been a top guy. So I'm all for this.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
It matters. Yeah, like it's who needs to win, more. I mean, we know that answer, but like for Sammy's standpoint, like even if like even if you beat Santana, like what happens next? Like, are you gonna like be on this redemption path and lose weight and whatnot and yada yada, or what happens like after a valiant effort like comes up short with Santana? What happens? So basically, yeah, it's just kind of like what happens next. Like, what's Sammy really gonna do here? So personally, like I would be very upset, because like he's to me he is one of the reasons why TNA is back. is why TNA, is back, back in the fold and whatnot. Because, Sammy was the face of the Impact Wrestling brand, many years back. Like him, Eddie Edwards, Moose, Rosemary, those four in particular, they, steered the ship during the Impact brand, and a couple others, steered away. But like those four in particular, in my opinion, or helped led to TNA coming back and stuff. So. Yeah, to lose one of them, Sammy, would be very devastating. So I'm personally hoping it's just kind of kayfabe storyline, but who knows? But I mean, the last time the someone did like a winner go situation was Cody Deaner. And as it stands, there's no Cody, no Cody Deaner right now, but if you know what I mean. So
Yeah, yeah. I like how you mentioned him being part of the resurgence because I always reference this show that I'm gonna name as like the start of again since then TNA's been very hot and that's 2018
yeah,
Slammiversary. Eddie versus Sammy versus
Sammy.
Penta in that fucking death match was one of the matches of the night and people talk about that show as kind of being TNA being back. You know what I mean? So yeah, you're right. I think it would be very heartbreaking to lose Sammy like this, especially not on his own terms. So yeah, I hope this is more kayfabe than anything, but I'm still looking forward to this. Okay, next we're gonna move into the main event, which was very entertaining. It was Moose and Eddie Edwards versus AJ Francis and Trick Williams. I thought this was good. Again, I thought all four guys worked hard. I thought all four guys looked good. I especially like when Eddie was in there. And I had not pieced together, but Tom Hannafan noted that Eddie is the longest tenured active wrestler on the roster. I think they said he's been there since 2014, 2013.
That's correct.
Yeah,
24/7.
yeah, obviously, yeah, he came in with Davey Richards, the Wolves, 7-time tag team champion, 2-time TNA world champion. I believe he's had a run with the pro wrestling, the GHC title in Pro Wrestling Noah. I believe he was a champion in Noah for a while. Eddie's done it all. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Hall of Famer.
yeah, Eddie. Yeah, with the exception of having a WWE run, Eddie's pretty much done what there is to do. He's won titles everywhere he's gone, even in Japan. He I would say he's a great. I'm trying to the best way to describe Eddie. He's a great, not like a hand, but like he's like a great key to the puzzle and whatnot. Or so for lack of a better word, basically Eddie works well with anyone you put him with.
Yeah.
Like because he's that good and willing to kind of even in loss or win, make everyone shine out.
Yeah.
And the matches. I'm sorry, the matches with he had with Ace Austin, is a prime example of that.
Every successful team has somebody on their roster like Eddie Edwards. You know what I mean? Has an Eddie Edwards on the roster. So yeah, I completely agree with you. Yeah, and the feud with Ace was great. Yeah, no, this was a good match. I liked how, you had Casey kind of getting involved a little bit, kind of feigning the injury a little bit. At one time, he was able to knock Eddie off the apron. This was good, but the finish came when Casey tried to get involved again. Trick was holding Eddie to try to get hit. Casey hit him with the cane, and he missed and hit Trick, which led to the finish. I don't know. I think it's a little too early to be trying to split up First Class. I don't know where they're going with this, but obviously you got people new, and we got the match. The best way to set up a title match is have Moose pin the champion in a non-title match. Boom, you have an excuse to do the match. What'd you think about this?
Oh yeah, this was build up, more contendership, as we move to the next PLE emergence. Um, yeah, it seems based on the backstage and leads to tonight. Yeah, it seems like AJ and Trick, are not pleased with Casey, being injured during a big matches like this. So yeah, there seems to be some issues right now with first class and stuff. So and definitely first class tricking, as they say, because Trick got pinned by Moose. That by virtue, Moose had getting a title shot as we'll get into in a few. So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. How does Trick and regroups? That's right. How does Trick regroup? After being pinned, because he has his hands full on NXT and he has his hands full on TNA. So it'll be interesting. And yeah, for Casey, hopefully, he gets well soon. Yeah, sucks that he wasn't a part of this tag match. But, yeah.
So yes, obviously after this we get the match. The match was was official. It's going to be Moose versus Trick Williams at TNA Emergence. I like this because this is basically, I don't know, kind of a little bit of similarities to the last time. The TNA title was held on someone from another brand. Again, I like how it's Moose being involved, and I do like because if you guys remember, this was an empty Daly's place for Moose last time versus Kenny Omega. Good for Moose getting obviously a larger size arena this time. It should be a jam-packed crowd getting to watch him. I don't think he's going to win, but still, I do like this. And real quick, before I let you go, because I know you have a lot to say about this, and I know I might make some TNA fans upset, but I don't like when the belt hot potatoes any other time. And just because somebody from NXT holding the title doesn't mean I really want him to drop it so quickly. I want Trick to have a great reign because whoever beats him beat a great champion. And you know what I mean? So, I think this is going to go a long way having Trick beat Moose, a former TNA World Champion, former almost longest reigning X Division champion. So I like this. So what were your thoughts on all this?
On the match, but also
Just on everything, and then just on everything, and then do you like it? Do you like it's going to be Trick versus Moose?
Definitely, I like the match. Definitely, it's going to be a big test for Trick in particular, because you're facing one of TNA's best right now, and Moose. And I don't know, Moose has, as good as Moose is, he always has his, detractors and whatnot. But you can't deny the man's ability, in that ring, especially the great X Division title ring that he just had. So if you're expecting something, I expect from out of this match, I say expect a good main event, because Moose obviously is gonna make Trick look good, and then Trick, he's gonna make Moose look good. So I expect an interesting clash of styles. And from my understanding, yeah, I think Moose, I think he played football in Baltimore. I think, I'll have to, or maybe he lives in Baltimore. I don't know. I have to look back. But he definitely has the home advantage here. So I can see why they made this match. And him, and it's what's interesting, because he's the baby face, and he hasn't been a baby face in a long time. So that should be very interesting.
I thank you for pointing out yes, it should be. Thank you for pointing out the football thing, because I like during the match when it was Moose and AJ Francis out there, Hannafin was like, you got two sides of you had the offensive line versus the defensive line, because I believe Moose was a offensive tackle and AJ played DN. Yeah. So I thought those two spots with them were really good and worked really well. So again, I agree with everything you said. I think that Trick is going to come out better after this title run than he did with his NXT run, just because I think they're giving him really good workers. Again, Moose is no exception to that. So this should be really good. I expect Trick to have another good showing. Obviously, Moose is going to go out there and have a great performance. But that's not what it's about. I think Trick's elevation is one of the stories in this whole thing. So, but yeah, I thought this was a great show. What were your thoughts on the show as a whole?
I would say this show is starting to pick up. Like, what are they doing now? Post Slammiversary, like already, we're building feuds, creating new feuds, like from Cedric to Leon Slater to like adding things different to the knockout scene, with the Elegance brand, claiming Ash in particular, trying to, seek her shot. Um, Heartbreaking storylines, a segment, which I think that was the kind of the main thing out of the show, the segments, the talking segments, Santana and Sami Callihan in particular. It just kind of, I love that kind of detail. Like it makes you kind of like you want to like either be angry or feel bad at the talent. For Santana in particular, you feel bad because like he got robbed in his in his home turf, and doing what he can to get title back. Sammy, you've never really seen the side of Callahan. You're trying to like figure out where's his mind at, and like could this really be the end of the death machine? So overall, I would say a decent episode, but like we definitely got a lot of that's kind of shown us the direction we're going into, not just Emergence, but also possibly Bound for Glory later in October.
Yeah, I think just like how they say that wrestlers kind of step their game up when the TV's live, I think the looming talk of bigger things on the horizon has definitely forced the whole locker room to, you know what I mean? Everyone's kind of fired on all cylinders right now. I think everything's meaningful. But yeah, this was a good show. You know what I mean? The off shows, if that's what someone will call it, are still, TNA still hammers them home. So yeah. But with that being said, I want to thank everybody for joining. I want to thank you guys for tuning in every week. Make sure to like and subscribe. Make sure to like this video and then subscribe to bodyslam.com so get notified whenever we go live or whenever any of the great people on Body Slam go live. And with that being said, we'll see you next week. Have a good night, everyone.
Later. Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you.